So, hey, everybody, welcome to the Prove It Live podcast. Today's guest is, we'll get to in a few minutes, is former and hopefully be current Major League pitcher, Dan Schlereth. So I want to introduce my lovely co-host, Elena. Hi, Elena.
Hi.
So, the purpose of this podcast is really to kind of enlighten people on injury. Okay, so I've got some news from this week. So, Elena, I've examined 8, 11, and 12-year-olds in the last 2 weeks. The game test, 4 of them have been referred out to orthopedic surgeons.
Wow.
4.
That's a lot. It's a high percentage.
Yeah, so we're running on the Area Scouts platform at about 55% of people who get the test have to need actual medical attention, not just need corrective exercise, actually have some sort of thing wrong with them that they need to see a higher level, orthopedic or pediatric something. And I find that to be
egregious, excessive, sad.
Heartbreaking. And guess what? They're still pitching. One of the kids I examined today was going to continue to pitch, like this weekend, in some sort of tournament. I said, does your arm hurt? Yeah, every time I throw. Oh, okay. There's something wrong with that. So, and the other thing too is I was telling another guy. So I coach. I've been demoted from coaching college summer league. I left there because the college athlete just drives me insane. So now, 10 and 12-year-olds. So instead of them driving me insane, their parents drive me insane. So, because every 10-year-old, I don't know if you know that, is going to go from the 10-year-old AU team directly to Major League Baseball. We have a new path. I don't know if you knew that. Let's go right there. That's directly there. So, the 10-year-olds, I asked, because we're having a tough time doing the thing in baseball that you have to do. You have to impede the ball's progress when it's hit. It's called catching. So ball's hit at you. So just so you know, you gotta impede it. You gotta stop it. It's called catching, right? You just kind of.
I get that. I'm not that bad.
It's great advice.
You don't have to do it. I don't care. I just need you to kind of just catch it right here.
Yeah.
Right.
Stop it.
Just stop the ball from going somewhere other than right. So that's it. So impede the ball's progress. So excuse the thunder in the background. So there's 22 kids between the 10s and the 12s. We took a survey today. What did you do today? I got up. What time? Everyone gets up early now. These kids don't stay in bed, which is good. What did you do? Well, I went swimming. Then what did you do? I played Fortnite. Then what did you do? I played this. I played that. I played this. I played that. 22 kids. No one actually took ball, threw ball against wall or something to catch ball, and impede ball's progress to be better. So these parents are paying thousands of dollars for this AU program and letting their kids sit on their buttocks 6 hours a day to play video games. I don't get it. And then they wonder why they're hurt. It's crazy.
So it's one of the things that we talked about when we were kids, even though I wasn't an athlete, that I still spent time throwing a ball against a wall because that was just fun to do. And there wasn't Fortnite, and there wasn't anything more than 3 television channels.
Oh.
And I didn't have control over the television that you had to get up and change the channel on.
Right.
So I left because I didn't want to watch the news, and that was really my only choice. So I went and did stuff. And that's something actually that I think the youth of today has as a detriment to them, because they don't really need to move. In order to move, they have to pay. They have to pay to get an activity that is scheduled for them to move at, which is bizarre.
So now the latest thing. So growing up, Anthony could probably attest to this. So you were judged on your social status, not by how much really money you had or where you live, but what video game system you had. Rich kids had ColecoVision, right? Which had these great graphics.
Well, that was Atari, right?
Dude, I'm 54. I had Atari. You get the wrong guy.
Yeah, the middle rich kids had Intellivision, and then the poor kids like me, we had Atari. One stick, and that's
exactly
it, right? We did all that, and that was So now the latest thing is virtual reality, where kids just really sit on the rear end again and just kind of turn, and that's what they do to play, do anything. They put these goggles on and even less moving, and then they wonder why. Anyway, so let's get to our guest who has taken time out of his schedule here, trying to make his way back to the Major League. We have with us Dan Schlereth, which is an impossible name to spell if you went to Northeastern, where I did, where the NCAA college. I had to it up twice and still wasn't, but I spelled it correctly. I think that I did. So I've been actually, Dan doesn't know, following Dan's career for a very long time, because I followed Dan's father's career for a long time, because Dan's dad played for my favorite football team, the Washington.
Don't say it, Kevin. Don't say it.
Something.
The
Washington team.
The like 12, 11 guy. The Washington
team.
It was the Redskins.
Yes, and actually, I was away this weekend, and I went to a sporting memorabilia store. There were 2 Washington Redskins stickers left, and I bought one, stuck one on my truck and one on my computer. Okay, because I've been a Redskin fan for as long as Joe Theismann started. My dad was a huge Notre Dame fan, and Theismann came from Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. I'm not complaining about that, but anyway, so then went to the Redskins, and that's how I became a fan. And Dan's dad was a great lineman for my Washington Redskins, but then left. I think I forget. We'll have to ask Dan where he went after that. So with that, I'd like to introduce Dan Schlereth, who has taken time to come on board with us. And Dan was a first-round draft pick, okay, which is an amazing accomplishment, and played in the major leagues. I remember him with Detroit, and last year he was with let's see, who's that team in Boston? Oh, yeah, the Red Sox. I think he played the Red Sox for a while. I think they still have a team. I'm not really sure. They may have folded. But I'd like to introduce Dan. So, Dan, thank you for coming on. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Yeah, thank you. Doing well. How's everybody doing?
I think everyone's out there doing great. So, Dan, my dad worked at, I thought it was a cool job. He worked at this factory, and they made, like, plastic molds. So he'd bring home, like, he was the company that did the glow-in-the-dark stick. So I thought that was really cool. How was it growing up with a dad that played in the National Football League?
Yeah, it was pretty neat. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered if he was like a plumber, a desk job guy. I didn't really know the difference. So I thought everybody's dad played in the NFL. So it was pretty normal for me growing up. My dad was just a lot bigger and stronger and larger than most people's fathers, but for me, it was normal. It was normal life for me.
So did you get to go to any, tell us about a kid? I mean, I got to, watch my dad. I went to work with him a couple times, which I thought was cool. Did you get to go to the games? Did you, your dad played a couple teams. One was the Redskins, but where else did he play? Denver, right? Did he play for
Broncos? He's Redskins for 6 years, or the Washington football team for 6 years.
Oh my goodness, Jesus.
Yeah, right. And then the Broncos for his last 6 years. So 12 years total.
12 years. Okay. And then now you're so speaking of injury, I mean, your dad was famous for having a couple of knee injuries.
Yeah.
And how many knee surgeries did your dad have?
Knee, I believe he had 24 on his knees, and then I think it was 29 or 30 total surgeries.
Now, I'm assuming that Dad has new titanium knees walking around, I'm assuming, right?
Not yet.
He's serious, really?
Still bone on, but he takes care of himself. So
he's in shape.
Yeah, dropped a bunch of weight, and he's in the gym lifting weights 2-3 days a week, and he looks like he could still play, honestly. Has a little, not a huge limp, but his left knee is kind of bone on bone. But for the most part, he's doing pretty dang good.
That's awesome. Now is he still with ESPN?
No, he works with Fox. Now he calls games for Fox, and he's got a sports radio show here in Denver that he does.
Oh, that's great.
Every morning. Yeah.
Cool. So enough about Dad, that traitor who went to the Broncos, but that's okay. I'll forgive him.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. So tell us about you. How did you get involved with baseball? I mean, obviously your dad played football. Did you play football as a kid?
I did, yeah. Football is actually my favorite sport. It still is my favorite sport. But growing up, I mean, like most of us, we want to be like our dads, and I really wanted to play football. If you've seen me in real life, I'm not the biggest person. I kind of got my dad's upper body and chest width, but my mom's lower body and my mom's height. 'Cause my mom's about 5'2", and my father is about 6'4". And when he played, he was around 285, 290. My mom maybe weighs 100 pounds. So I got my mom's height and I guess my dad's upper body. So I'm kind of right in the middle of both of them.
Okay. So what position did you play when you played football?
I played quarterback, but we ran a lot. We had we would throw bombs probably 5 to 10 times a game and run the rest of the game.
Really?
So when they stacked the box, when the linebackers came up and the DBs would come up, we would throw over the top and yeah. So I guess kind of run first and then Hail Mary second.
Now, where did you grow? Where did you go to high school? Where did you grow up?
I'm from Highlands Ranch, Colorado, which is about just kind of where I am now, about 25 minutes south of Denver in a suburb called Highlands Ranch.
Okay. So then tell me, so obviously you might have played baseball, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Played a little baseball as well. Yeah.
So tell me about high school and how you got looked at and what happened with that whole thing.
Well, yeah, high school was great. Usually baseball is a lot of fun until you get to pro ball, which it's kind of backwards, but high school and college ball is a lot of fun. But high school, I pitched way too. I mean, coming from where I came from, you didn't say anything when you were hurt. You just kind of got through it. So I pitched. My coach wasn't maybe not the most knowledgeable guy, which we didn't have, and I'm not blaming him at all, but we didn't have like the science and the data and like the modus tracking systems to where, if your arm is undergoing a lot of stress, I mean, we couldn't tell. It was just like, how's your arm feeling? I would do a few of these and then I'd be throwing the whole game. So I pitched quite a bit, and I ended up blowing out. It was probably one of the first cases for Tommy John with kids under 18 years old. So I ended up blowing out my elbow when I was 17 years old, just from all the pitching and the weight program that we had probably wasn't conducive to what a thrower needs to be doing as well. So everybody was on the football lifting program, bench press and all the rest. So that probably didn't help my case out at all either.
No. So just to make you kind of feel better, I've had an 11-year-old with surgery.
Which is ridiculous. That should never, ever happen. 17, 18 should be, I mean, that's still crazy.
So now you are 17. So you're obviously injured since high school, like probably even earlier than that.
Yeah.
Your velocity, because that's the key word with everybody, was what before you were injured?
I was still, I mean, I was blessed with a good arm. So I mean, in high school, I was looked at to be a pretty high draft pick out of high school. I was anywhere from like 90 to 94, left-handed.
Left-handed.
So I was looked at pretty highly out of high school.
Okay. So then you had surgery. Who did your surgery? Anyone famous?
Yeah, a guy by the name of Dr. Martin Boblick, who's an incredible surgeon. He's at a Stedman Hawkins clinic, which a lot of people are familiar with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they have a clinic in Vail, which is the more famous one, and Dr. Boblick is in the Denver clinic, kind of closer to us, and he does the upper body extremities, where the Vail clinic does all the knees and the hips and all that stuff.
Nice. Okay. So then you go to college. Where do you go?
Yeah, I go to college. I redshirt my first year.
Where'd you go to school?
I go to the University of Arizona, and I went to University of Arizona in Tucson, and great baseball program, Hall of Fame coach. I got to play for one of the greatest coaches I've ever had in my life, and was a part of some pretty cool and awesome teams in a really good baseball conference.
So when did you go the senior year, or did you get drafted and come out early? What
I got drafted as a redshirt sophomore by Oakland, and I kind of hurt this weird injury. I hurt my ribs and kind of the intercostal cartilage in my rib cage, so I didn't really I finished not like I wanted to, and I slipped in the draft a little bit, and they just kind of a long process in there with the draft and all that. So I decided to go back to school because I knew I could be picked high. I knew I could be in the first round. So I went back to school, took a little bit of a gamble, but we had a great team. So, I mean, who doesn't want to go to college for another year?
I'd like to go to college now for another year. Yeah.
Me too.
So now you get drafted in the first round, right? By who?
Arizona Diamondbacks. Yeah. So I go from Arizona to Arizona.
So, I don't want to put you on the spot, but obviously we could look this up. So someone wrote you a big check.
Yeah. Well, shoot, man, I'd love to get picked where I got picked. Right now, man, that they're making $3 million from where I was picked.
So what was your money at your level, and what is it now?
I got picked. Gosh, I don't even know what it is now. It's, I mean, I'm not complaining at all, but I was picked 26th overall, especially as a reliever. That doesn't happen at all anymore.
Yeah.
26th overall, and my bonus was $1.33 million. Today, it's probably easily double. I mean, they might be close to $3 million at that pick today.
So now, when they give you a bonus, like you get like 1 point. What? How does that? Because I have another guy I work with, Jeff Getz, who you might know. He was in the Marlins organization, but he got like 1.7 million. And it's like, yeah, they kind of just because I've never seen 1.7 million. So just if you can kind of explain, like they write you, it comes in a check. Like,
yeah,
they write you like, here's a check, Dan. There you go.
Yeah, it doesn't look real. You get it in the mail, and when you see an envelope that looks like a check and it says the team on top of it, it's going to be a pretty good day for you.
Right. So
yes, you get in 2 installments. So the first one, do the math. So half of 133 after taxes, but it's still a nice chunk of change. Yeah.
That was my next question. So they take the taxes. You're just getting the net of that check. They take the taxes out.
Yeah, so 2 installments for that total sum. But they obviously tax it before they give it to you. But I was still pretty happy about that number.
And I'd be happy about the taxes taken out of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, me too. Right now, especially.
So now the agent. Now, who is your agent?
A guy by the name of Mark Pieper. He was. They've changed their name a bunch of times, but they were SFX Baseball.
Okay.
Which I think that was probably their most famous name. They've changed it 4 different times now.
Now, how does he get this? Does the team send him money, or do you then have to pay him?
No, I pay him after that. Yeah.
You pay him. Get
right.
What? How much? They get what? 10%, 5%?
No, it was like 4. I think it's 4%.
Okay.
Yeah. So still nice. Still a good little deal.
The gross, right? Not the net. They get 4% of the gross, right?
4% of all of it. Yeah.
That's not bad. Yeah.
For what too? It's like, man, I had him. We kind of came together in 2007. We started working together, and then I got drafted. So really, I knew the guy for a year, and then I was paying him.
Wow, Elena, would you like that? Take 4% of like 1.3 million? What is that? I don't even know. That's a lot.
Of 1.3 million, yeah, I would find that acceptable.
We can live with that, right? Yeah,
I would say to most kids that are not looked at highly in baseball, I would tell them to go get a law degree and become a sports agent.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, but the amount of kids that actually graduate with those degrees that actually become agents are relatively small, from what I understand.
Yeah, I would highly recommend becoming a sports agent if you can.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's like 53. Just so we do the math, it's about $53,000. Not bad.
Yeah, no, not bad for one college kid. Yeah, because they have a few guys, and then
not bad. Yeah.
They get paid from their big league guys too, which is a nice penny.
Yeah, that's not bad. So, now, so what years were you in Arizona? What happened with that now?
Well, 2008. I got drafted in 2008.
Yep.
And took a little while to sign. I don't know what the holdup was. but I only played for maybe 2-3 weeks that season. I was very end. It took a while to sign for whatever reason. So I didn't play too much that season, which I really wanted to get going after I got drafted. I really wanted to start my career, but it took a few months to get going. And then the next year, 2009, shows up and go to Major League Camp, and I get sent to Double-A out of Major League Camp, and I'm only there for about a month, and then I get called up to the big leagues in May.
From Double-A.
From Double-A, yeah. So I only pitch. I mean, I only have a handful, maybe 25, 30 innings before I go to the big leagues.
That's awesome. So let's rewind something that I probably have never asked someone that I need to know. Talk to me about what they do, because now you've had Tommy John surgery, right? So talk to me about the Major League physical. What does it entail? What happens? Because you're essentially showing up hurt to some degree. I mean, you've had surgery on your arm, and your arm is probably, I'm guessing, not like it was when you were 16, and they just spent essentially $1.3 million on you. Talk to us about what they did for evaluating you, for your health.
Not much. There really was no physical after I got drafted. I remember, it took a few months. I think once we signed the deal, I went up to Phoenix. I was in Denver. I was at home at the time, so I flew down to Phoenix, and they gave me an MRI on my shoulder and elbow.
Okay.
And then X-ray on shoulder and elbow, and gave me a couple of these. Kind of, let's see the range of motion here, which, as you can see, my range is pretty good still for an old guy.
I see. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what they're like. Hey, checks out good. Here we go. Let's get going. I mean, it was really just a doctor visit.
No one looked at how you moved. No. Your mechanics. No one looked at anything. And I'm happy for you that they wrote you a $1.3 million check.
Yeah.
That's just amazing to me. And I'm sure they write, like, for instance, up here, I mean, the Red Sox just gave Chris Sale a gazillion bucks, and I knew he had a torn ulnar collateral ligament 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's amazing the money that just goes and goes and goes, and no one stops to look and be like, hey. And so when they say everyone passes the physical, and that's what I kind of figured it was, like literally a whole lot of. And then who does it? The doc? Is it the team doc, the trainer? Who looks?
And that's the other confusing thing is a lot of people think the best doctors are the professional doctors. They're not.
Yeah, they're not. Go
on. They legitimate. I mean, they pay for that title.
Yep. Oh yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we get deeper into this talk here, I was examined. I hurt my shoulder a few years later in Detroit and got diagnosed with tendonitis. And so I came back. I'm like, this is not tendonitis, man. I know what that is. So I said, can I go see my buddy, Dr. Boblik in Denver, the guy that I trust that has known me since I was just a kid.
Yeah.
So I went to Dr. Boblik and he gave me an MRI, a couple of tests. And this guy I trust, as much as my parents. Oh. He goes, you have a slap tear, dude. your labrum is not in good shape. So, and I was like, well, thank you for telling me that. It sucks, but now I know what's going on. It's not bicep tendonitis.
So you're in Detroit. Now, what is your, because a lot of people will say different things about, if you're missing location, it's elbow or shoulder. If your velocity down, it's this. So you had a really good year in Detroit, right?
Yeah, I had a couple good ones. Yeah. I had a start. I thought I was going to be in the big leagues for 20 years, but things changed quickly.
Right, but during those years, you're still hurt, right? So what does your arm feel like every day?
So I'm okay in Arizona, and then I get traded in the winter meetings of 2009. I go to Detroit. 2010 is smooth. 2011 is very smooth. 2012, I arrive in spring training not feeling good.
So what happened between the end of the season and going to spring training, do you think? It just –
Yeah, so I got used a little bit what they call, excuse my French here for everybody, but just dry. So when you get up in the bullpen, so people that don't understand that, it's when you get up in the bullpen and you're getting ready to go into the game and you don't go in the game and then you have to sit back down.
Yeah.
That's referred to as a dry hump. And that I got that a lot. And, when you're throwing 100% effort, 20 pitches in a row, and then you sit down for a little while, get back up and do it again in that same game, 15 to 20 as hard as you can, sit down, get back up and do it again. I mean, you're looking at 60 pitches, full go.
Before you did. So
before you even got in a game. Yeah.
Take you. So if you get the phone rang and they say, all right, Dan, get up. How many pitches until you're ready, and what intensity are you throwing those pitches at?
Yeah. So if I could do that over again, I mean, it wasn't anybody's fault. Now that I wish I had the knowledge I do now. Cause when you're that young, I was 23 or 24. And when you're young and stupid, you don't know any better. You're just like, well, I got to throw as hard as I can.
Right.
So I can get ready to get these big league dudes out. And, knowing what I know now, I would have gone a lot easier and then ramped it up for like the last 4 or 5, but I would have saved my bullets as much as possible, because I think that stress kind of what led to my shoulder just blowing up a little bit.
I'm sorry, but this is what this is about. So I got to ask this question. We have the manager, the bench coach, the pitching coach, in the bullpen. We have a bullpen coach. What in God's name is that person doing when you are throwing as hard as you can 3 times a game? Doesn't that guy say, dude, settle down, you're 24, we need you for the next 10 years? Doesn't anyone say anything to you?
Yeah, and they do. I can't speak for a lot of other people, but I had my first bullpen coach with Detroit is one of the best humans I've ever met. But when you're young and you're dumb and you're stubborn and you think you know what's best, you're like, F you, man, I know what I need to do. So for me there, I mean, he would tell me like, hey man, let's save some bullets, but I'm feeling like I got to get in here. I got to face Robinson Cano. I need to be full go right here. So that was my own stupidity. I wish I could do it all over again. That's one of my biggest things I wish I'd go back on, is not throwing at that intensity all the time. It was just something that I know now, and my arm is in much better shape than it was when I was 24, and I'm 34 years old now.
So, and Elena can attest to this. Rotator cuff, not a problem. Tommy John, not a problem. Ulnar nerve transplant, not a problem. Can fix that like it's nothing. Labrum, not so easy. So for those people on the call that don't understand the labrum, is we have the head of the humerus that goes into the socket, and right on top of that is a nice piece of connective tissue. We have one in our hip too that really holds the ball into the socket, and that's called your labrum. And when that gets torn, and we have a SLAP, which stands for, what does that stand for, Elena? Superior lesion, something, whatever.
Anterior, posterior, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. I don't care about it.
It's not good.
SLAP equals not good. That's the acronym. Not good. And that literally we talk about, and you're in the middle of this course, game testing. I mean, that's the first movement that shoulder does, is that labrum is involved. So Dan, tell us, I mean, that the fact that you're even throwing it, and we'll get into this, at the velocity you are now with having that. So did you get that? I'm assuming you had to have gotten that repaired.
I actually didn't.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. So I had, and this all goes back to my doctor that I had.
That's fantastic. Good for you. Because I can repair it. There's really nothing after you have it. There's really nothing I can do.
Yeah. So I did a lot of research from my side, and I had a wonderful, this Stedman Hawkins team. I can't talk about them highly enough out here.
That's great.
I had all the PT, all my buddy PTs that I had that I've known since I was 14 years old. And the head surgeon, Dr. Boblik, said, you know what? You could get the surgery, but I would not advise, if you want to throw at a high level again, I would not get the surgery, because you don't know if you're going to come back the same.
Right.
That was all I needed. As I said, I mean, I trust this guy, and that was all I needed to hear. So I was like, I'm not getting the surgery. I'm going to figure out another way to get this fixed, to get this done.
So what did you do? What's the other way?
I went a little bootleg with it and took a gamble and got some stem cells injected into my shoulder. So I did the stem cell and PRP together.
Yep.
And so my shoulder for a little while was about this swollen. And when I would hit it, and it looked like a waterbed. I mean, I had so much fluid in my shoulder. But looking back, I mean, that was the greatest decision I've ever made as a pitcher, was just to not get the surgery and go ahead and try to do this in the best way possible without getting that thing cut open. Because I felt like if I did do that, I might not be the same.
So for those lay people out there, and trust me, I'm one of them too. So PRP and stem cells, basically taking a bunch of stuff, like Dan said, injecting it in there with the hope that it decreases the inflammation. You know, some will say it's going to repair your labrum, but I mean, if we take an MRI of Dan's shoulder, it's still going to have some torn labrum. But you know, with anything, it's about, does it bother you? Because you know, everyone who's got back pain, you know, will say, everyone who's got back pain will come back to me and say, "Oh, I've got a bulging disc." Yeah, you and 50,000.
Everybody. I mean, at some point, everybody.
It's whether it's symptomatic or not symptomatic. So,
Right.
So that's a great result of both of those treatments together. So you get all these. Then what? Take us from there. What happens then?
So I end up, I get that done, and that probably takes about 4 to 5 weeks of just kind of we're in relaxed mode. We're going to let those things really take hold and take shape in there, and I'm not going to do anything.
Now you're table list at this point, or what's going on with you?
Yeah, so this is after the season. So I'm on. I leave Detroit in 2012 after the World Series. My contract gets non-tendered because obviously I can't throw. I'm of no use.
Right.
So I get non-tendered after that, and then I decide to do this procedure because I want to continue playing. And then so I do that, and then I find the best guy that I can possibly find, and that's Dr. Tom House. And obviously, if you know the baseball community, you know Tom House. And I go out to see him, and I still do. I mean, I talk to Tom as much as I possibly can. Sure, go ahead.
I just went to war a little bit today, but that's okay.
Yeah. I didn't see anything, but
we had a little Twitter warriors talking about, you know, gripping the ball as hard as you can, and
yeah. No, I know he's a hot button in baseball, but he brings a lot of stuff to the table. So I go to see him, and I don't get my velocity back immediately. I do a lot of work, and I see some great people. One of them is Mike Reinold. If you know Mike, he's a former Red Sox guy, and he's a wonderful therapist up in the Boston area. He had a lot to do with it. Eric Cressy's another guy that I trust. As much as anybody. He does some awesome things. And then it's just kind of a group. And then my own research. And then I get into like the Pete Egoscue program, which Egoscue is a posture alignment kind of process. So and people need to, I guess, take more accountability for their own career. I never was like, this doctor's going to fix me and I'm just going to stick to that. Like I took responsibility for my own career, and I was like, I want to find the best things that I can find and kind of mold them into my own program and see what works. If it doesn't work, toss it out. So I just kind of blend all these together, and it's taken a ton of time and effort, but 10 years later, I'm throwing as hard as I've ever thrown. I mean, I'm throwing 94 to 97 right now. As a 34-year-old, I just need to get another shot. But I've been with 10 teams, so I understand why teams are a little hesitant to give an old guy another shot. But today, stuff-wise, it's probably the best I've ever had in my entire life.
So you're as a lefty, 94 to 97, and you essentially are having difficulty getting a job.
Yes.
In a league where people cannot throw strikes, especially relievers.
And don't have an off-speed pitch.
You cannot throw anything off speed for a strike. Cannot last if we watch any World Series game at all, and cannot last more than 4 or 5 innings, right? And then they're going to a reliever, and you can't get a job. Why is that? What is happening? Tell us in your opinion, what is going on that you, a veteran, can't get a job?
I wish if I was making decisions, I would sure give myself a look, but I don't know. I think it's just the influx of young players. They don't have to pay young guys like me to play and obviously there's no minor league season this year, but the last few years, guys like me with I got 4 years of major league time. So I mean, they're going to have to. Typically, they pay guys like that a little more, but they're kind of going away from that and just having 21 to 23-year-old kids in AAA and kind of phasing the older guy out. So there's a lot, and I'm not just talking about me, but there's a lot of really, really good pitching, a lot of good pitchers that don't have a job right now. And it's pretty unfortunate because a lot of guys should have somewhere to pitch right now.
Yeah, and I look at the pitching is bad.
It's just and I joke about this all the time. Like, these guys just want cage throwers.
Yeah, there's throwers, right? They're just guys that try to gas it up and throw it.
Weighted ball throwers with, just zero feel. Yeah, it gets a little frustrating, but I feel like I owe it to myself to give it one last shot and then kind of figure out what to do next.
Yeah. So did you ever get your degree from Arizona? What's up with that?
No, I haven't. I left. I only have a few I should probably do that now that you mention it, but I only have a few classes left.
I'm sure you can probably do it online since no one's going back to school for God knows.
Yeah. If this keeps up, and I got a lot of other stuff brewing right now too, but yeah, I might want to finish that.
Yeah, right.
Couple classes left.
So tell us how you got on this platform. What happened, and what do you think about it so far, and you've taken any of the courses in it? What's going on with the area scouts?
Yeah, well, I just found this. I was just browsing around, and it popped up on LinkedIn, I believe. I was just like, man, I'm just sitting here. I might as well try to make a few dollars. So that popped up, and I just clicked on the thing, and I talked to Lance, and he kind of referred me to Ryan Lavarnway, who I've known. We played together in 2016, I think.
Yep.
So yeah, he just kind of told me what it was about, and then I was like, all right, well, let's go ahead and get through got to the scout school, which was awesome, and then I'm probably on like PowerPoint or slide 20 or 21 right now, getting through the game certification.
Yeah. Wait till it comes to the test, buddy. Okay. Gonna be. All right, man. Well, Dan, thank you. Elaine, you got any questions? You gotta have some questions. Like, there's gotta be something.
No, I don't. I've been finding your journey very interesting. I definitely think you should go back and finish those last couple courses.
Absolutely.
You got so far. Don't give up now.
Oh no, I'm not. It's a matter of finding some time here. But once we get it, we're gonna go forward.
What would you do?
It's one of those interesting things that you talk about. At 34, you're one of the old guys.
Oh yeah,
and
not even close.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. That so fast. You're so young, and then all of a sudden you're too old already. But you're not. You're not too old yet.
I was probably too old about 5-6 years ago, and I kept getting jobs. So I was not thrown like this.
Wow.
So what is your what's your major? What's your degree going to be in?
Well, it was in religious studies, and psychology was the minor. So I honestly think I have I'm so close. I have 3 or 5 classes left.
Oh, get that.
Yeah, I could probably slam that thing here pretty quickly.
There you go. Get it done.
Get it done. Right. Get it done. All right. Well, Dan, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. This is some really good information that people will certainly use your journey, just, because not every day do you talk to someone who's played in the major leagues. And thank you so much for me and everybody else on the platform.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the time.
All right. All right, everybody. That closes the show. Elena, you got anything else? We'll give you the last word.
You should never do that. Everybody have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.